What's going on, you guys? Coaster here talking about the recent news about the Big Ten Conference. I have not talked about college sports openly on camera in a very long time. The thing for me is just I've been working, and I think the problem is once you graduate college, you start working and working, and then you have other priorities in life. Unfortunately, college sports has been on the back burner for most of my weekends. I mean, there's times I'm just at work. I have to work on a Saturday sometimes, so I don't get that luxury of being able to see college sports as much as I used to. Luckily, I've done a lot of good things in recent years. That includes going to the Frozen Four. I saw the University of Denver win the Frozen Four tournament. I've seen the Cotton Bowl where Alabama beat Cincinnati. I was in Dallas for that, and I was even at the bowl game. I think it was in Houston, the Tax Act Bowl or something. It was LSU against Kansas State. I was there for that. But of course, the big news is UCLA and USC go into the Big Ten Conference. It's already official. I mean, whoever hid this news and didn't tip it or leak it early. I mean, congratulations for keeping this stuff quiet. I don't know who and the reporters did, but the reporters had to find the stuff the day of, and then right at the evening, both the schools and the Big Ten Conference announced that they're going in 2 years, just like that. They're opt-out, all that out of the way. I don't know what lawsuits there's going to be, but I'm guessing it's not going to be very big. This is huge. Obviously, it's a bombshell for some people, but for others, it's not even close to a surprise. We've been hearing a lot about super conferences. We've been hearing a whole lot about things up and down. We've been hearing a lot about conferences just getting bigger. It's going to be like a super league. And that I think the first domino to fall, of course, was Oklahoma and Texas a year ago. We know what's going to be funny, assuming that this is all going to happen. UCLA and USC are going to switch their conference, and they're going to do it before Texas and Oklahoma can. I think that's hilarious. So, yeah, what does this mean? Well, this means that there's no soul. It's all about the money, and I get it. The financials part, I'm not one who works in the athletic department. I'm not a donor. I'm not a booster. I am not an alumni of UCLA. But I'm very aware that it's a business. And that's the term that a lot of athletes are going to say, whether the trade happens, whether a guy gets cut, whether a guy is signed. It's a business. That's sports. That is sports for you. It's a business. And from what I've seen, the revenue numbers within the Pac-12 were terrible. Larry Scott, as a commissioner, has been viewed as a joke. And both the LA schools kind of said, yeah, screw it. I mean, I don't know how long these talks have been happening. I'm going to guess it's been happening for a while. And whoever has been able to hide this stuff and not give it away to the media till the day of, congratulations to you. I just got to give all the congratulations in the world to whoever hid their story like this, because this stuff usually gets leaked really easily. And when Oklahoma and Texas did it, we already knew it was going to happen. But this one, it just happened right away. And then the day, like later that evening, it just happens. They announced it, boom, right away. Now, of course, it would be funny if this all gets withdrawn and somebody pulls out. I'd laugh, but I think it's all but confirmed the way it looks. I know last time, this is really reflective of the Pac-12 gambling and failing when they thought they were going to get Texas, Oklahoma. Remember when we thought it was going to be a done deal? I think they were going to bring half the Big 12 and then make that the Pac-16. And then as a result, Utah becomes the consolation prize. It just kind of helped the Utah when that expansion happened. I mean, all of that blew up in their face. I mean, the Longhorn Network and everything, it was just a Band-Aid to make Texas get short-term happiness. But the Pac, I mean, so much for Back the Pac. I guess that's going to go out the window. Who needs Back the Pac pride? Pac-12 after dark. Who needs all that stuff? It's all about the money. I mean, I think the revenue is going to, triple with the new contracts. I have not checked all the financial numbers, but I know it's going to at least double. Probably more than double whatever revenue is before. The other thing that's responsible for this would be Under Armour. I mean, remember that UCLA had that deal with Under Armour? It was a mega deal for its time. And then they backed out. I think they backed out, 3 years into that deal, and now they're under Jumpman Nike, if I remember correctly. I don't know all the details there, but I know that Under Armour pulled out, and I thought that was major, major BS. So UCLA, of course, has been looking for their own money in their own financial terms. Some schools have leverage. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma, as we know, have leverage. They are a revenue cash cow, and now that they're jumping to the SEC, I think everybody else has kind of reacted to that, and this is just another domino, and we're going to see about 30 more dominoes take place. Of course, what is it, 10 years ago when we had all those big conference changes and so on, how big of a deal that was. I know that was kind of just in the talks, and then we thought the Pac-16 was going to happen, and then that blew up in their face. But now that this is going to make a super league, all the other conferences, even the ACC, they're all going to react. They're all going to try to pick apart more and more markets. I mean, now the Big Ten. It's going to be weird how it's the B1G Conference. I don't think they're going to change their name, right? Are they going to just call it the Big... Maybe not called the Big Conference? Or, I don't know, Big Ten. Obviously, it hasn't been a 10-team conference for, 30 years now? I know, tradition really went out the window once Maryland and Rutgers joined the Big Ten. I'm not really concerned about geography. Everyone's going to talk about that. And, yeah, is it funny that, there's a bunch of Midwest schools in there? Yeah. It is really funny when you think about it. But I'm not really concerned over that as much. It just makes no sense when it comes to tradition. If you're a traditionalist and you think it's BS, then fine. I mean, it's going to be your loss. Unfortunately, you have to adjust to the times. And, times have changed. There's the saying, times have changed. There's no soul, but there's a lot of money involved, and the money talks. It is a business. I'm going to say it again, it's a business. And we've seen more than double the revenue and all that I've already repeated. And I am going to be sad for a couple traditions that are going to go out the window with the Wests. I do like things on the West, but I've also learned about the Midwest as well. I've actually made some trips. I've seen a lot of Wisconsin. I've seen what Quick Trip is and Quick Star if you're in Iowa. Been to the Mall of America. Seen a lot of Minnesota. I've actually seen a lot of Ohio too. I mean, there is a lot of pride for their teams out there. I know the Midwest is often a joke or viewed as boring or viewed as a bunch of cold places. I mean, I'm not far from the Midwest. You've seen me in Missouri. I've made a bunch of trips. Usually, I've been to St. Louis. I just make a lot of trips in general. And the Midwest is awesome for the hospitality, and they love their sports. I can tell you that they have pride in where they are. I don't know. This would be nice if both UCLA and USC fans bring some pride as well, and don't just show some elitism, which... California stereotype, elitism. Oh, there's nothing that matters except New York. Fly to New York. Fly to a big city. Who cares about this flyover country? Who gives a damn? That's been the thing. But now that I've spent some years in mostly the Midwest, or at least I've been living outside of California for about 7 years now, I've learned about the good sides of it. I've learned about the affordability. It's been humbling, but... at the same time, I still have accessibility to what I want. And people like hockey, too. I actually appreciate that. So I could see UCLA try to get an NCAA hockey school the way that Arizona State has one. I mean, I've been to the Frozen Four, and it was awesome how many people I saw from the Midwest. Specifically, Minnesota was there, since Minnesota State and the Gophers both made the Frozen Four this year. That was awesome. I enjoyed that wholeheartedly. I've also been to the College World Series in Omaha. Been up there too. Great thing. Now, in terms of college sports, I have not had the same emotional attachment that I used to. But do I know all that lingo, like on Wisconsin, hail to the victors, and yelling OH, someone yelling back IO to me? Yeah, of course I do that. If I see someone wearing the right shirts, I'll do it. That being said, it is going to be strange to travel. I can't imagine if you're an athlete and you're traveling for this stuff. An athlete on scholarship, especially if it's for a sport that's not football. Like, the frequent travel is going to probably feel annoying if you're an athlete for a non-football sport. But obviously, the football team, that's not going to matter. Once a week going out to the Midwest, or half the year, that's not really a big deal to me. And clearly, these schools don't care about the money that they got to spend on traveling. Those days are long over. The money from the TV deal is all that does matter. And now the Big Ten Conference. I mean, previously they added the New York market through Rutgers. They added the Washington, D.C. market through Maryland. And now they add the SoCal market of Los Angeles. The value of Los Angeles, which of course we've seen why the NFL put 2 teams in Los Angeles very recently with the Chargers and the Rams. Just the value of that market alone is huge. And I can see why the Big Ten and UCLA want this partnership and all that together. It makes a lot of sense on financial terms. Just... geographically on a map, it looks really, really funny. And I know we're going to be laughing at that now, but I think more teams are going to come in. I can't predict who. I don't know what's considered more valuable. It's going to be weird to think about which TV market is. I don't think Oregon or Portland is a valuable TV market in compared to LA, though. That's what. Apologies to you, an Oregon Ducks fan. They're going to find a home somewhere. I just don't know who. You just can't beg to be in. Okay, that's one thing we've clearly seen about this conference realignment. You got to have some prestige. You got to have a valuable market. I don't know how valuable the PNW is. Maybe the Bay Area is, the TV market is, but having grown up in the Bay Area, pretty much where I grew up pretty much in Alameda County, where Cal and Oakland, you didn't really see fans as much. I can just tell you just from observation. You had to be an alumni, or you had to know someone who went to the school a lot more on the West Coast. You can't just... I didn't really grow up going every Saturday wanting to think about college football, like some of you in the South or some of you in the Midwest. I had cousins that went to UCLA, and that's how I became a fan. Otherwise, yes, you had to go there. Like Stanford, you're not going to find a Stanford fan as easily. You just won't. It's likely going to be the son or a granddaughter of some billionaire who likely cares about Stanford. They have a very small number when it comes to fans, and like I've been to their stadium, it shows. So I don't know what's considered more valuable. It's really going to be up to the conferences and the schools themselves, but everyone's going to be scrambling. The Pac-12 is about to be dead. I mean, they're going to substitute with San Diego State? Yeah, you lost both LA schools. That's your prime ticket. Because they're not doing well, it's a disaster, and the Pac-12 network is a disaster, thanks to Larry Scott and that gamble on the Pac-16 that lost. Of course, the Longhorn Network, that was also a failure, and that's why they bolted to the SEC. So, we're just waiting for more super conferences. What's going to happen? Who's going to gobble up more? Obviously, this is just another step, the second domino to fall after Oklahoma and Texas. Am I happy? I can't really say so because I have not been emotionally invested in UCLA the way you would think I have been. I've been more emotionally invested in other sports. But in terms of hoping that they can win and get revenue and then generate more growth in the program, yes, I'm happy for that. I just don't know if I'm exactly pumped, as in just maybe probably because I don't have the same emotional ties I did maybe 10 years ago on this channel. But yes, in terms of being with the Midwest and being with a bunch of fans that care about sports, oh, I love that. The Big Ten fans are great. I can really say nothing but good things about them, and plus it's kind of nice when you learn about the culture, just you learn about restaurants. I mean, if y'all are Californian and you've never been out of state, you got to go to a Culver's, okay? You got to learn how great Culver's is as a restaurant. One of the best frozen custards up there. You got to learn about what Quick Trip is if you're from Wisconsin or from Minnesota or, of course, Iowa. The Quick Trip is one of my favorite convenience stores. And even in Ohio, I've had Skyline. I've also had, Gold Star. I've even had Camp Washington. I've had most of that Midwest culture. I've learned a whole lot about that just living in the Midwest. So can't really speak much for the East Coast, though I do know what Wawa and Sheetz are. But yeah, in terms of the Midwest portion, the traditional parts of the Big Ten, yeah, I know a whole lot about it. And now that the Big Ten is a mega conference with 4, you got all the major markets from the East and West Coasts, and you have, of course, the Midwest. It's going to be fine. It's going to be good financially, and there's just no soul. I would also compare this to the European Super League, which they tried to do that, and luckily there was enough opposition to that one, thank goodness. As an Inter supporter, I would have really been mad at that one. But Super League, it's going to be a lot like the European Super League that was proposed. You might want to look that up. See you guys next time.